Alright, so today I want to talk about socialism. What is socialism? Well, there's three main tenets of socialism, kind of like there's three main tenets of Christianity. And the three main tenets of socialism is abolishment of private property. That's number one. Number two, the means of production is controlled by the governing authorities. That's number two. And number three is the means of distribution of goods is also controlled by the governing authorities. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about it is because if you live in a community that operates that way, you live in a socialist environment. Why is that a concern? Why is that a problem, Brother Jordan? Well, my personal belief is that it is not biblical to run a community like socialism. I honestly believe that socialism is a Leviathan system. And hear me out. Socialism, when it was originally created, if you do your study and your research on it, is supposed to be a bridge between capitalism and communism. What the people believed is that the capitalists got rich off of everybody who worked for these corporations, and people thought it was unfair. So the goal of it was to take all the money from the rich corporations, give it to the government, and then the government would then give it to the people, and you'd have communism, where the people would control and own everything, and they would make distribution of goods amongst themselves, and there would be no private property because everybody would own the property. The problem is it never works. It goes from capitalism to socialism and stays in socialism. It's a totalitarian, authoritarian, tyrannical system where the governing authorities profit and are able to live lavish lifestyles off of the labors of those who are beneath them. The reason why socialism never works is because it requires a slave class. Why? Because nobody wants to do the shitty work for the same pay as somebody else who's doing an easy task. In capitalism, the way that it works is when there is some sort of job that people don't want to do, but yet it's in high demand because it needs to be done, the pay is also going to be increased. The law of supply and demand, it's not that complicated. The problem with socialism is you force people to do the tasks that nobody wants to do. And eventually, the people who are in the slave class have enough of the inequality between the regular people and those that are in the governing authorities, and they'll rise up and they'll take the power and control back from the governing authorities. We've seen it with Joseph Stalin. We've seen it with Adolf Hitler, even though people will say that Adolf Hitler wasn't socialist, he was fascist. But when you understand what the words mean, they're essentially the same thing. Adolf Hitler was just trying to take over the world with his ideas. Socialism is more keeping it within your own country. Anyways, the reason why I bring this out is because when I was a part of Straitway Praiseland, Kabir was having everybody sign a document that is making it so that way all of the money that you make goes to a foundation which he and he alone controls. You are no longer able to have any form of private property, any form of assets, anything like that. It is all owned by the foundation. And the foundation is the one that decides on what your needs are and how it will meet those needs. It defines what your needs are. When you research socialism, it is probably one of the most wicked government systems that have ever existed. Hundreds of millions of people have died in the name of socialism because they tried to create a utopia, and it always fails because it is not biblical and the Most High is not in it. The Most High believes that a man is supposed to be able to reap what he has sown. A man is worthy of his labors and of his hire. It's just what the book says. Somebody else should not be able to take your hard-earned labor and be able to use it so that way they can live a lavish lifestyle, especially if they aren't the one that's working. If they're not out there working and producing, but yet they taking everybody else's funds and is living way above the average person in their group, there is a huge problem. A huge problem. I am so thankful that the Most High has opened my eyes to be able to see these types of things. I'm extremely grateful. You know, when you start studying Acts chapter 2 and Acts chapter 4 and the whole book of Acts, what you will realize is that in Acts chapter 2 and in Acts chapter 4, the people sold possessions so that way they could give to the people who were in need, who had come to Jerusalem for the Feast of Pentecost and were staying there beyond what they had originally planned, because the outpouring of the Holy Spirit had happened and people were seeing signs and wonders and miracles, and people had a genuine need. So those who had abundance sold what they had in order to give it to the people who had lack. So that way those who had much didn't have too much, and those who lacked didn't end up lacking. That was the point of it. When you read throughout the rest of the book of Acts, you will see that people had businesses, people had houses. That's what they owned. They owned that stuff. And then what I'll hear people say is, well, look at what Jesus told the rich man. Unless you sell all and give to the poor, you're not going to make it in, right? That's how you be perfect, right? And then come and follow Jesus. That's what he said. I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me. With that, it's funny because in the ministry that I hear that from, it's actually only put on certain people to make that, to have to do that. Look at Kabir. Who has he? I'll ask two questions. One, has he sold everything that he has? The answer is no. He's got millions of dollars in a brokerage account. And has he given it to the poor? The answer is no. Who has he given it to? It's actually the opposite. If he does give people money, he gives them a loan. Show me where that is in Acts 2 and Acts chapter 4. It said that the people gave all, and then distribution was made to those who had need. Well, if people are needing a loan, obviously they need money. Why are we giving them a loan if we're supposed to be selling all and giving it to the poor? Why are we just not giving it to them if that's what the model is? Now, I don't agree with it. I don't think we should just be giving people money like that. But it's just kind of hypocritical. There was another point that I was going to make. Oh, Father help me. Bring it back to my remembrance. What was it? Okay, I remember the point. You'll also hear the same ministry say, and they will reference Ananias and Sapphira. And they will say, see, they didn't give all, and that's the reason why the Most High had killed them. That's not the reason why the Most High killed them. The Most High killed them because they lied about it. They lied to the Holy Spirit. They bore false witness against the Holy Spirit. They my guess is they wanted to make it look like they were, you know, these great super saints, that they were selling everything and they were giving everything that they had, but they were really keeping back part of the price, so that way they could get the notoriety and the credit, but still have the funds. That's my personal opinion. That's my personal belief. Anyways, hope you all are blessed. If you're in one of those situations, start asking questions, because it's coming to a community near you. It's coming to a community near you. And you need to have your eyes open on what the book actually says and follow Yah and not man. I don't care what man's trying to put on you. I don't care if he's trying to use all this manipulation, coercion, and duress. Do what I did. Stand for the truth, and the Most High will fight for you. Guarantee it. Bless you. Shalom, shalom, shalom.